welcome to another session of Neighbors and Friends. We're here today with Bridget Malone. Welcome.
Thank you, Elsie. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you to all the neighbors and friends for watching.
And Bridget is going to clue us in on the places and the activities for gay and lesbian transgender people in Iowa City.
Yes, I am. Iowa City has a really long tradition of being gay-friendly. The University of Iowa was the first university in the nation to have a gay group back in the 60s. There's been a very strong presence of lesbian organizations and businesses throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s, as well as now, obviously. So a lot of people move to Iowa City every fall. They come for school, they come for jobs. And it can be, even with the internet, it can be hard to find a good group that meets your needs for your age and your interests. So there's so many groups in Iowa City. I wanted to talk about some of them.
Okay, and we'll put those sites on the air too.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Because everybody uses the internet.
Yeah.
But some of them are so small, they don't even have a website. So the biggest group in Iowa City, the kind of an umbrella group, is Connections. And Connections is a group for gay men, lesbians, bisexuals, transgender people, and their allies. Any straight people are always welcome to their events. They have a great website, www.queerconnections.org. And they have a great calendar on that of all the gay events that they hear about. It's a wonderful calendar. They have monthly forums on the first Tuesday of the month at 7 o'clock downtown at Hotel Vetro on the second floor. And it's an educational slash social group. So it's not a political group per se. It's more trying to educate the community and to have small groups and things like that where people can meet and meet each other and learn more about current issues for LGBT people. They've got things like Spiritual Seekers, which is exploring spirituality, a ballroom dance class, game night, and a motorcycle group. So anyone who wants to join Connections and has an idea for a group, we're happy to help sponsor that. And we do co-sponsor events with things like Pride, the Women's Center, and other organizations as well. So we welcome everyone in Connections.
And where is the dance group held?
That's held at Old Brick every Tuesday night at 7. It's a free group. Mark is a wonderful dance instructor, and you don't need a partner. You can just show up and learn how to tango and foxtrot and all that good stuff. And it's a really fun time, so really encourage that. Another important group that I'm on is called the Iowa City Pride Planning Committee, which is kind of self-explanatory. That's a group that has all kinds of age range, from Elsie, who's a lovely octogenarian, down to high school students. We have people of all ages. It's about 25 people on the committee. We'll start meeting in September to plan next June's Pride event, which is always a big deal in Iowa City. And so that meets, I think, every third Sunday at 3 o'clock at the Iowa City Public Library. And check the Connections website to be sure, because I'm not 100% sure on that date. But it's a great way to meet people and do something constructive at the same time. So if you like planning things, planning celebrations, that's a really good group to join. The Women's Center, the RAC, the Women's Resource and Action Center, is at 130 North Madison Street, and they have long been a very wonderful resource for lesbians, bisexual, transgender people, and men as well, although they're not as famous for that. For example, they have a lesbian reading group every semester, and sometimes 2 lesbian reading groups, and that's open to all women. You don't have to show a lesbian ID card to get in. There's a lesbian writing group. They have often had bisexual support groups, transgender support groups, and coming out groups. So they have groups for all different kinds of people, and those are really wonderful. If you like to read as well, Connections has a reading group called the Rainbow Reading Group, which meets the first Wednesday of every month at the Iowa City Public Library at 7 o'clock. And Todd is in charge of that, and that's a wonderful group too, and that's open to absolutely everyone who's interested. That's an open group. As well as the Women's Resource and Action Center, the university has a lot of gay groups. They have the LGBT Center, which is fairly new. Elizabeth Krause is the director, and it's a little teeny house located on 125 Grand Avenue Court, right to the left of Slater Hall. They're mostly geared towards undergraduate students, obviously LGBT students, but they really are welcoming to the whole community. So if your group would like to have a meeting, you can rent that space. And they do a lot of outreach to the whole community, and they're really a wonderful place. The university also has the GLBTAU, which is the gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and Allies, I think I'm saying it wrong, union. And they meet at the student union. They meet weekly starting in the fall, usually on Wednesday nights, but they may change that. So you can check the university website just to be sure. There's also a University Staff and Faculty Association, which is a professional organization that has monthly meetings and receptions and hosts events. They're a really great group. In the county, there's the Senior Center, which has a couple groups. One is Friends and Neighbors, which is a wonderful TV show done by our own beautiful Elsie. Well, thank you very much for hosting this. Then there's also going to be starting in the fall an LGBT social circle here at the center. I can't remember who's starting that, but it's starting, I believe, September 2nd. So I think you could check the Senior Center website to find out more about that.
And it will be in the little booklet that the center puts out.
Wonderful.
For all the classes.
It will be also on the Connections website as well. So
and that was an outgrowth of the Gay Pride Parade.
Yes, it was. It was great.
Yeah.
And then you, I believe, are starting a group as well here in Iowa City. Am I wrong?
Oh,
Rumor has it. Please explain what that is, because I don't know.
Okay, of course, there's no reason why you should. It's old lesbians organized for change, OLOC, OLOC, and it's a nationwide group. We have conferences, which I haven't attended recently.
Maybe Iowa City should host one.
We should host one. That's an excellent idea.
And Connections could help co-sponsor it.
They are sometimes held at universities. It was one of the places I met Del Martin and Phyllis Lyon, two of our...
Oh, yeah, from the ladder?
Yeah.
Yes? Oh, my goodness, that's old school.
Two of the heroes from our history.
Yeah.
Del is no longer with us.
Yep.
She died about a year ago.
She died just after they were legally married in California.
Right.
They'd been together how many years? 50
Oh, yeah, 55,
some years.
Yeah,
a lifetime.
And when they interviewed her at the wedding, she said, "It's high time. I haven't got much longer."
Yeah, it's probably a good thing that she didn't live to see Proposition 8.
It was tragic.
Yeah. Interesting. So ALOC, you heard it here, cutting edge. Also through Johnson County, there's a group called United Action for Youth, which targets teenagers here in the city, and they have a subgroup called GLBTQA, which is for gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and questioning, and allies. They meet they're on Iowa Avenue, 200 block, I don't remember the exact address, and they have a 24-hour hotline staffed by Amy Lewis, who's the director of that program, 338-7518. That's area code 319-338-7518, and they're specifically for gay teens, teens in trouble. They're a wonderful place to go if you're ever having any problems. They also work with homeless youth, so it's an amazing group.
And it's right, their office is right in the ground floor
of that parking ramp,
there.
You can't see.
of the Clock Tower parking lot.
Clock Tower parking ramp. They're on the ground floor of that. Thank you, because I did not know what it was called. Iowa City, because Iowa City is such a welcoming place, people often move here and say, well, where's the gay-friendly neighborhood? I don't think there's any neighborhood that's not gay-friendly that I've ever heard of. All of the bars and restaurants downtown are very welcoming. Occasionally at 2 o'clock in the morning, drunk people probably would harass you, but most of the time you can feel free to show affection and hold your lover's hand, not a problem. We do have a gay bar, only one. It's called Studio 13, and it's on 13 South Dubuque Street. A wonderful place to go dancing. There's also a group called the Gorilla Queer Bar, not my group, who go out and take over a straight bar the first Friday of every month. And they're a Facebook, MySpace type organization. You have to join them, and they'll send you the last minute, they'll send you an email where to go, so it's very dramatic. I have not attended, because I think I'm too old to take over a straight bar. But It sounds like a lot of fun. And then on Sundays, after you've gone out to the bars, you can go to the gay AA meeting, which is every Sunday at 5 o'clock at the First Baptist Church on 500 North Clinton Street. And they're a wonderful group. It's a fairly stable, large, sober people who are a great enhancement to our city. If you like to sing, there's a nationally recognized excellent choir called the choir QUIRE. And they practice on Sunday nights. It's not audition, but you have to show up to practice. So they have a window when you can join up in the fall and a window when you can join up in the spring. And then after that, it's closed. But their website is www.thechoir, that's THEQUIRE.org. Wonderful group of people. And they travel and they do shows, and it's pretty fun.
Right. They
So.
sing both locally and they go to some, there are choir conventions, if you wish, with the choir.
They get around, the
Right,
choir.
with the gay men's chorus from Los
Yes.
Angeles and
Yes.
the one from Denver and so on.
Yeah, they're a pretty fun group. So if you miss swing choir from high school, there's a place for you. Speaking of music, there's a wonderful organization called the Iowa Women's Music Festival, which is held every fall in September in Iowa City at Upper City Park, and this year is their 15th anniversary. They're very excited. It's the weekend of September 11th and 12th. They're bringing in a lesbian comic, Poppy Champlin, on Friday night at Old Brick on the 11th, and on the 12th they're having a big lineup from noon to 5 at Upper City Park. You'll hear them. And they're bringing Michelle Schacht is their biggest national number but they're bringing national, regional, state, and local musicians. So it's a wonderful show. It's free, and it's mostly lesbian, very, very gay friendly, and everyone is welcome to come to it. That Saturday night, they're also doing something at the Mill on Burlington Street with the Jodie Foster Connection, which is my favorite 80s retro band. Wonderful. And Des Moines has some amazing things going on in, of course, because it's the capital. And Cedar Rapids has some great bars and restaurants and businesses up there too, which I don't have time to include, but they are included in our website. We do include Cedar Rapids because we're the corridor of information. And wow, and there are so many more groups. There's a group for almost everyone. And if you don't find a group, you should make your own. And let me know about it. I'm Bridget Malone. My email is malone.bridget@gmail.com. And I have a listserv, and we have these websites, and we will promote your events. So if you have a left-handed gay basket weaving group that you want to open up to the community, please email us, and we will get it on the event. And the calendar, again, is at www.queerconnections.org, and it's got lots of information and resources on it. So
Okay.
that's just the beginning of my list, so that'll get us started.
So could you tell us again what date that new group here at the center would be?
It says it's starting on September 2nd.
And that will be in the white program book that
Yeah.
that the center prints every semester. So again, that would be for lesbians and gays, bisexual, transgender
Gendered
people,
and allies.
and
It's
their
supposed to be,
allies.
I believe, a discussion group about gay issues.
I think so.
Yeah.
And allies, of course, are always
Oh,
welcome.
allies are welcome at all these events, absolutely.
Because every gay person that I know has a mother and a father.
Yep. We
Two.
weren't raised in gay land.
Right. We have brothers and sisters.
Exactly.
We have aunts and uncles.
I do.
We have cousins.
Lots.
We have co-workers who love us.
Yeah. And
And
those
our-
that don't.
And some who don't. We have neighbors.
Yes. we love
Hence
our
the name of
neighbors.
the program.
It's a great name. I like your show.
So, and some of the other sites, yes, some meetings are held at the Hotel Vitro.
The Connections Forum is held at the Hotel Vetro in a beautiful space, really nice space, right on the corner of Lynn and Burlington.
And,
Right?
and
So-
you get, the doors to enter are on the Pedmill.
On the Pedmal, yeah.
Yeah.
And you just go up to the second floor. Those are wonderful programs, the monthly forums. We've brought in a variety of speakers, national speakers. One Iowa, which is a group working for marriage equality. We bring in artists and politicians and different people with different perspectives to hopefully foment discussion. And
and to sort of educate ourselves about different issues. We just had one, since of course Iowa just became the 4th state to allow marriage for
Right.
gay and lesbian people. We had a forum on could you, would you, should you, and sort of the legal ramifications of what that means, getting married, because we've had sort of a rush to get married because people finally can. But then there also is the question, you know, what does that mean economically, financially? Oh, that's the same thing. Legally, what sort of things are you required? It's a big decision and it shouldn't be taken lightly.
And yet, even though Iowa's Supreme Court and many other states, through their legislature and signature of the governor, have legal marriage
Yeah.
for the lesbian, gay people.
Mm-hmm.
But at the federal level, it's all flipped upside down and denied.
Right. We don't have any federal benefits.
And the ironic thing about that is the federal government clearly says that the states are in charge of marriage.
Right.
What age a girl can get married,
Right.
what age a boy can get married, what the ramifications of how closely related they are.
Right.
And so the states are in charge of that.
Right.
And yet, after the states approve it, as our Iowa Supreme Court did, saying we are taxpayers, we are citizens and legal residents,
Mm-hmm.
we have a right to full citizenship, full civil rights. Whoops, not when it comes to federal regulation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if I had a partner, she could not get any of my Social Security, which isn't all that big, but would make a difference.
It's not the point. It's not equal.
It's not the point.
It's unfair, very unfair. And well, and in Iowa, the way gay marriage happened was because the DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act, was passed in Iowa, like in 38 other states, and the national government as a backlash because states were thinking about doing it. And so they said, well, normally if you're married in Tennessee and they have different rules about age or something, let's say you can get married when you're 16 in Tennessee, and I don't know that's true, but Iowa would automatically respect your wedding.
From the other state.
All the other states in the
All the
union
other
would respect
states.
your marriage, even if it was illegal in Iowa to get married at 16, which I believe it is. And so the Defense of Marriage Act is making a huge exception, saying if we get legally married in Iowa, Illinois has a right to discriminate against us.
Right.
I think it's unconstitutional. That's what I believe, and that's what the Iowa Supreme Court believed unanimously.
Right.
Unanimously last April 3rd, and they said that you can't pick one group and say, well, all the laws apply to everybody except for you.
Right.
And you don't get to be equal. Sorry. And so I hope, I mean, I know tons and tons of people who are calmly getting married and going on with their life. I really hope that people who are opposed to gay marriage will look and see that this does not unravel the society, this does not unravel marriage or the family or any of those things that people are afraid of. And I understand that people are afraid of change. But what I hope is at the end of the day, people will realize this is a personal decision, this is a religious decision. It's not the state's job to impose a certain religious view on all of us.
Well, it seems right. It's
a lock topic, but that's okay.
Inequality is simply inequality.
I agree.
Nobody ever offered you as a lesbian to pay half of your taxes and that'd be okay.
No, not so much.
Not so much. Nobody ever offered you down at the store when you pick up your groceries only half of the taxes for you because you only get half of citizenship rights.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I find it dreadfully alarming. And I also think that any heterosexual who thinks that a lesbian, a gay man, should have no right to marry, I think that heterosexual person must be awfully insecure in his or her own self.
Well, I don't know that I would go that far. I think that change always costs. And I think that any time you change a paradigm, and it's a big paradigm shift, I understand that. I think that there's a process that society goes through, including backlashes, including debate about it, including panic and people fearing that this is going to change everything that they know. And the kind of, rumors that were going around about what implications this would have not been borne out in reality. It's not true. Those kinds of things that people fear. I really don't think it's going to. It'll fundamentally open things up a bit for GLBT people. I absolutely believe that. And I think that's a good thing. And I think that most people in America really don't care or they know that this is not that pertinent to their life. It's not going to change their life hardly at all.
Right.
So but it will benefit our lives immensely. I cannot tell you how good it feels to be legally married. It really does. I feel much more secure. I feel safer. I feel like, God forbid, I get smashed by the car. That my wife's my wishes will be respected as far as where I get buried, as far as where my house goes and where my money goes. There won't be any question. Mm-hmm. My family cannot swoop in and change my will or change my wishes or whatever. So I think most people recognize that, and people were hoping that those things could be addressed with, what's that called, the civil unions. But the civil unions have not cut it in the states they've tried it in. It does not guarantee 100% equality. It's like sitting on the, not even like sitting on the back of the bus. It's like getting a skateboard and hanging onto the back of the bus. That's how tenuous it feels when you're not included, when you're not protected. So,
right.
And yeah, so we're very happy in Iowa. I'm very lucky.
Right.
And I hope that people realize that it's not such a huge difference.
And for the people who bring up a point they wish to make, mm-hmm. which is no point at all, the people who say, well, a pastor or a priest or a rabbi is going to be ordered.
Oh, yeah.
The state has never ordered a pastor or a priest or a rabbi.
My brother and sister-in-law got married this past year, and they were quite politely refused by a couple different churches because they had requirements that you be a member of their church or that you go through counseling first. So there's you can't just go into any church and demand to be married. Straight people can't do that. No. Churches have a right to marry people within their membership, people with whom, so they're not going to. I think that more gay people will ask their churches. I think that will sort of I think there will be a pressure on churches, synagogues, and mosques to perform those ceremonies. And then it's up to those churches to decide how they want to handle that. And so I do agree that there will be a greater demand. There's been lots of weddings. And it's a happy thing. It's a very happy thing. So.
Interestingly enough, among our allies, there are a number of pastors, and I think maybe some rabbis. I don't know about the priests. A number of pastors I know of who have announced they will no longer provide a wedding ceremony to anyone until their denomination opens up for everyone.
Yeah, and those are very brave people. There are some very brave people in the faith community who have really stood up for GLBT people, and I am personally very grateful to them. People have really. There was just recently an African American minister in California who spoke up against Proposition 8, who's being sanctioned by his church and may be fired just for speaking up and saying that it was wrong to discriminate against gay people. So they are really. There's a lot of things going on in the faith community around this issue, mm-hmm. and they're the ones really grappling with it, maybe more than the universities or more than the courts even. There's some big battles going on, and I really hope that people are able to, keep it civil, keep it, rational, and don't get too crazy.
Of course, here in Iowa City, we have a full range of gay and lesbian, bisexual, transgendered people involved in every segment of the community.
Oh, absolutely.
from
Absolutely
government to the university to stores and hotels and any place you want to mention.
Yeah, I think that it's one of the most amazing communities to live in for gay people. I think it's a wonderful place to live and work and enjoy your life, you know, from the cradle to the grave. I think it's a great place to be, so I feel very lucky.
I remember with a sense of satisfaction a banner I made for the Gay Pride Parade.
Mhm.
This would have been back in the 80s. And it said, like the air, we are everywhere.
Oh, that's a nice one. That's a good one. That's true.
And we are in every segment of society. We're postmasters, we're beauticians, we're people that run the laundries and clothes, dry
And
cleaners.
teachers. I'm a teacher.
The what?
I'm a teacher.
You're a teacher, yes. So we have professors, we have lab technicians, we have any segment of society. And we have retired senior citizens. And we're still here happy to see the changes that have come. Should we summarize any of your programs?
Yeah, I would like to say one more thing about the groups and organizations is that one thing with doing these things is that I often hear from people who say some things like, well, there's not a group for me, or I don't really belong to this group. And I would encourage people, I was sort of joking when I said start your own group, but I was kind of serious. I mean, if you are a certain age or a certain group, I know we don't have any groups for people of color. That doesn't mean that they're not welcome, but that there is currently no group. Maybe there's a lack of numbers, or there's not a good leader, or I'm not really sure. But please feel free to let us know about your events, or tell us if you'd like connections to start a group, because we'd be happy to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And also, this is your community. Even though I'm here on the TV, I don't own it. I'm not in charge yet, but. But community is not a book that sits on a shelf. Community is made by people coming out and opening up things to the wider community, putting an ad in the paper, putting something on the TV or on the website, that invites other people to come. Nobody elected me. I just took an initiative and started doing a listserv. But, you know, do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I hope that people don't feel like I'm not welcome because I'm blah. It's not true at all.
No.
And on the other hand, you're not going to like all other gay people. That's a mistake some people make. I've had people say, "Oh, I went to studio and the bartender was grumpy with me." Well, bartenders can be grumpy even in other bars. I would encourage people to give people a second try and to be active, because this is your community and it's as good as we make it. That's my plug.
Well, thank you for being with us,
Thank you,
Bridget.
Elsie. Thank you so much for having this show. I love it.